long-stalled efforts to end the war in Gaza appear to have gained momentum, with Israel saying that its spy chief will attend ceasefire talks and Hamas vowing to stop fighting if a truce is reached, upon now a senior Hamas official reportedly said that a delegation from the group's Dobe-based leadership discussed truth-related ideas and proposals with Egyptian officials in Cairo. The official said Hamas expressed readiness to stop the fighting, laying down conditions that Israel must commit to a ceasefire, withdrawing from the Gaza Strip, allowing the return of displaced people. We should also agree to a prisoner exchange deal and allow the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has welcomed Egypt's readiness to reach a deal for the release of the hostages held by militants in Gaza. After the Cairo meeting, Netanyahu directed the head of Israel's Mossad spy agency to leave for Doha on Sunday to discuss the truth deal and take forward a series of initiatives. Earlier, the US and Qatar said that Gaza ceasefire talks will resume in Doha. The U.S. Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, met with Qatari leaders in Doha on his 11th trip to the region. Today, Blinken in London is expected to meet with the foreign ministers of Jordan and the UAE, two key partners in a post-war plan for Gaza. The U.S. top diplomat will also meet with Lebanese Prime Minister Najib Mikati to discuss the conflict in the country. Meanwhile, Israel's Foreign Ministers Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich have slammed Netanyahu's decision to send a high-level negotiating team to Doha. In a post on Next, Ben said that the announcement was not approved by the cabinet and asserted that Israel should rather starve Hamas of oxygen than agree for a deal that will allow it to reorganize and attack Israel. Israel's finance minister, Smotrich, in a post on X, said he deeply regrets Netanyahu's decision, as Qatar is an enemy country that supports Hamas and backs its positions in the negotiations. Furthermore, according to a New York Times report, Iran is readying for a war with Israel while at the same time seeking to avoid one. This comes as Iran is awaiting Israel's response to its latest missile attack. The report, citing for Iranian officials, says that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has ordered Iran's armed forces to formulate plans in response to the expected Israeli retaliation. Iran will strike back if there is significant damage or casualties. Also, according to TASS news agency, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Chief Hussein Salami has warned that advanced U.S. missile defense system THAAD stationed in Israel won't be able to W future attacks from Tehran. He said just as the Arrow anti-missile systems did not work during Iranian attack, the third systems will also not be able to stop it. Research associate at the United Against Nuclear Iran welcome to the broadcast Jack as Israel readies itself to retaliate against Iran. How much pressure is the Biden administration under to avoid any escalation, given that the U.S. polls are less than 2 weeks away?
I think that the Biden administration sees great political risk in escalation between Israel and Iran at this point, because any action by Israel or reaction by Iran has the potential to impact the price of petroleum on the international market, which could harm both the American consumer and create panic among us financial markets. This would, as I mentioned, bring great risk for the Biden administration and their preferred candidate Kamala Harris, and there's also the pressure that would come for the United States to potentially involve itself in Israeli operations, which could create the impression that the Biden administration is unable to effectively respond, and also bring issues for the election of Kamala Harris.
And how do you think Iran could retaliate against any Israeli attack, if at all?
So we've seen a few things mentioned by military and ERG leadership in Iran. Just yesterday the commander of the IRG Hussein Salami mentioned that the IRG could consider a ground operation against Israel. This to me seems unlikely. The most likely scenario would likely be a similar attack to what we saw in October, perhaps using additional missile platforms and also drone technology. I've also seen mentioned that Iran could launch an attack involving up to 1,000 missiles, though to me this seems unlikely given the size of the Iranian missile stockpile. One other thing that's worth considering is that we've seen in recent weeks increasing mention of Iran potentially amending its nuclear doctrine towards open weaponization. This would be a drastic escalation and would be a direct threat against further Israeli action.
Let's also talk about the conflict in Lebanon. How do you view the Israeli operations in Lebanon, where its troops are facing deadly fire from the Hezbollah as Israeli jets continue to pound Beirut?
So we have seen small arms exchanges between IDF soldiers and Hezbollah fighters. However, we've also seen the rate of Hezbollah attacks against Israel slow. These have happened on a near daily basis since October 7th, involving numerous civilian and military casualties. The pace of those attacks from Hezbollah has slowed. We've also seen Hezbollah leadership face collapse following Israeli operations, and for that reason, senior IDF commanders have mentioned the possibility of slowing operations in Lebanon or halting them entirely. This could also be in conjunction with Netanyahu's increasing willingness to reach some kind of negotiated settlement with Hamas, and operations will likely continue so that this can be kept on the table should negotiation go forward. Thanks for watching this video.